The most important thing one can do in life would be to make a difference to another soul, to a community, to oneself. And to do that, one must be aware that he or she needs to do something. Oftentimes, we have the will, but need someone to show us the way. Greetings to everyone watching and listening to this. Welcome to CHEZUBA Talks, a podcast dedicated to sharing compelling stories of hope, determination, and humanity. I'm Tej, and with me today is Ray Keene, Executive Director of the Canby Center, a 501c3 nonprofit based in Oregon. Ray is a member and immediate past president of the Rotary Club of Canby, the Canby Suicide Prevention Task Force, and the Dr. Richard Davies First Responder Fund, of which he is the founding board president. Welcome, Ray. Pleasure to have you on our podcast.
It's great to be with you this morning.
At the outset, please accept my compliments on the great work that you are doing.
Thank you. Thank you.
I am going to let you do the talking on what the Canby Center does and who it serves.
So, the Canby Center is a faith based nonprofit here in the United States that focuses in on trying to help people. We seek to renew dignity and inspire learning for youth and families. We do that in lots of different ways. The renewing dignity part of our work is really about more immediate poverty alleviation. So, for one person, that might be a hot meal today. For another, it could be accessing our food pantry, or it may be someone else coming to get dental care or eyeglasses. With regard to inspiring learning, we have a literacy program that we do in partnership with our local school district, where we invite adults into the schools to read with children for 1 hour per week. And we also provide one free book per child in that program each month. And so, what we're seeking to do there is pass on a love of reading, because we know in terms of long-term poverty alleviation, we need to be able to break the poverty cycle. Big part of that is education, and big part of that is really if a child will read for fun, then they will read to learn. And so as we bring adults in, we're looking for those adults who love to read. And so as they share that with a child, it really can change a whole generation ahead of them. So that's just kind of a couple examples of things that we do. We provide a lot of other services for folks who are houseless or people who might be facing eviction. We work quite a bit with the working poor families in our community. So these would be people who are working hard, but they're not making enough income to be able to keep up with rent and food and keep the car going. And so we provide various services that help offset their costs, and we ask them to participate in the process also. We would, for example, in our Thriving Together program, where someone can come once a week and pick up milk and eggs and other food, we simply ask that they volunteer 1 hour per month as a part of that process and take a finance class with us within the first 6 months on the program. And you can see in that the connections to our mission, both the Renewing Dignity piece, which is we're going to help you and provide some food today, but it's also that renewing dignity that happens through I'm a part of this community. I am contributing to it. I help it to go. And so I have a part in my community, not just
Mhm.
not just here for a time, but I have something to contribute to give back. We just believe everybody has something to share.
That's wonderful. So it's a pretty wide scope of service that you are doing. Now, how do you organize this? I mean, today is it, is it Giving Tuesday? Tomorrow is it, food, related or clothes related? Is that how you segregate, or is it anybody just walks in and says that this is what I need, and then you take that person like a case study, and then you
Yeah.
offer things to them?
We do both, actually. So there's quite a bit of scheduled programming. The programming schedule for today will include things like a food pantry distribution. And for example, next Monday we have a cookie decorating class, because a
Mm-hmm.
part of strengthening dignity for the relationships that we have with our guests is encouraging them to build relationships with their children within their families. And so, cookie decorating class next Monday night. We'll be looking at other components like on Tuesday, which will be an additional food pantry. We will reset our room and get ready for lunch. Anybody is welcome for lunch. Um, and we do immediately turning that room after lunch, we'll be getting ready for a class. So we are actually in a process right now because our space is about 5,000 square feet. We are looking to expand the Canby Center because we're constrained on space now. Most of what we do happens in what we call our big room. And we are oftentimes running out of space in terms of being able to have people in. And so we'll have to reset or ask them to come back at a different time. So I'll touch more on that in just a minute. But to answer your question about folks who may just walk in, we have quite a few folks who just walk in for the first time and maybe aren't even aware of what they need fully, except that they may be hungry or they may be needing a coat or things like that. It's quite cold today here.
Yeah.
So we have a clothing exchange where people can come through and shop for clothing at no cost. And we also can provide, a hot cup of coffee or a hot meal for them. So when someone walks in, Mimi, who is our guest services coordinator, will direct that person to the right services that they may need. They might need help with rent assistance to be able to
Mm.
stay in their apartment, in
Mm.
which case she would set up a case management appointment for one of our case managers who would sit down and have that conversation and see if there are ways that we could help. But in other cases, the programming goes forward like our literacy programs. Those are all pre-scheduled through the week. So that's right now we're moving to 6 elementary schools with that program. And I think we'll probably be at that point, we'll probably likely be at about 40 or 50 volunteers from the community who are going in to read each week with the children. We're super excited to see the impact that that has made in the past for children in our community, and it's also a big win, I think, for the adults in our community who care about upcoming generations, but maybe don't know how to be
True.
a part of it, how to
True.
help.
True.
So
Yeah. That's amazing. I love the idea of reading to a child, reading to somebody. It could be an adult as well, right?
yes,
Um,
sure, yeah.
and inculcating the love of reading and encouraging them to, think. Now, do you have only adults as volunteers, or do you have children, slightly older children, coming and reading to others?
Slightly older children at times. We may have a high schooler or two in that program, but we do have, say, children 13, 14, and up who
Hmm.
volunteer at the Canby Center in various ways.
Yeah, and
So
do they get some kind of credit points or
they
something like
do,
that? They
they
do.
do.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Our building sits right next door to the high school,
Hmm.
which is grades. What is that? Grades
Maybe 6 to.
9 through 12, I guess it is. 9, 10,
Oh,
11,
okay.
12. Yes.
Uh-huh.
So it's been a while since I've been in high school, but yeah, we're right next door. And so they have a requirement to do community service hours as a
Yeah.
part of their graduation requirement. And so we're right here. For example, one way that they do that is by helping us with our community garden that's in our backyard, where
Hmm.
they will come and plant vegetables in our garden, and they'll help to harvest those in the growing season while school's in session. And then others from our community here, volunteers, will go and help harvest that food as well and get that out to hungry families. So it's a
Yeah.
pretty neat way for kids to come and serve and learn. Just this coming weekend, we will have the football team from the high school come, and they'll be volunteering, helping us clean up one of our storage areas. They'll move everything out and sweep and clean. And they've got a lot of muscle, and
Yeah.
it's a good way for us. We'll usually have a conversation with them and talk about the way that they're helping is a part of the way that they can look at helping throughout their life in a community,
Absolutely. Yeah.
just in the same way that they work on a team together. Not everyone has the same abilities on their team, but it is their capacity as a team to come together, even when someone might be struggling on their team, to help support that person means that the team as a whole will go farther. And so it's the same way with our community. We have some people who have some needs, and when we come alongside them and help, our whole community goes forward. It's amazing to watch.
It is. It is wonderful. You're just building this empathy in individuals, and that's going a long way in their lives. Uh, Interestingly, I'm a school teacher before I started this, and we used to have high schoolers volunteer at school, and it's very interesting to see how some of these students have gone on to work in nonprofits, how some of them have
Yes,
even gone on to start their own nonprofit at that
yes,
age. That is so beautiful.
it is beautiful.
Wonderful.
It's great to see that inspiration being passed along. And I think,
Uh,
there was somebody who did that for you. There was somebody who did that for me. And it's right for
True.
us to model what is good that's been passed on to us.
Right. I read somewhere on your website that you have more than 23,000 service touch points annually.
Yes, yes.
That is a great number.
It is incredible to watch on any given day the way that that happens. That could be someone receiving a pair of eyeglasses. It could be someone who is participating in our Reading Mentors program and having a session. That could be a child who is served through what we call the Backpack Buddies program, where we pack a food pack, which would include enough food for the child to get through the weekend to return to school. We work in partnership with our school district, where school administrators, teachers will notice if a child is low on nutrition,
Mhm.
and they will add them to our program if the family wishes that to be so. And then we will pack a food pack every week that goes out to that child. And we will do probably close to 10,000 food packs this year in that way, working in
Wow.
partnership with our school district to ensure that children are able to return to school at the start of the week with a nutritious, energized readiness to learn.
Let's take a break to understand what CHEZUBA is. Everyone at some point ponders on how this beautiful life can be made more meaningful. Maybe you're a leader trying to enhance your employees' experience at your organization. Or you already work for the community and seek volunteers with state of the art skills to strengthen your nonprofit. Whatever your situation, know that you can make a difference. CHEZUBA began with this very vision, a vision to facilitate every skill and every passion in the world in meeting a social need. Corporate volunteering has several benefits for both businesses and organizations. In parallel, experienced and enthusiastic volunteers join NGO workers, enabling them to serve the community more effectively. CHEZUBA offers everyone looking to add purpose and meaning to their lives a chance to connect or volunteer virtually with nonprofit organizations from over 100 countries around the world. Visit www.chezuba.net and explore opportunities to find meaning. CHEZUBA, your platform to do good. And now, back with our guest. Right. So, Ray, you were talking to us about the new center that is coming up. Could you tell us more about it?
So the Canby Center is expanding from 5,000 square feet to over 16,000 square feet in the coming year and a half. We will triple in size our facility to be able to serve more families, more young people. We believe that it's the right time for us to do that, as our community sits just on the edge of a large metropolitan area, the Portland area, the port city of Portland. As that city is growing, it's pushing more and more into our community, and our community is growing fast. And so we want to be able to get ahead of those needs and make sure that we have solutions for the future that are really in place to help strengthen the people who come to us. So we are probably going to be breaking ground on this building project, which is a $6.1 million building expansion. Probably break ground this summer and take about a year, 10 months to a year to complete the project. It's very
Wow.
exciting. Just behind me here, you can see kind of a picture of
Uh-huh.
what we'll be doing there in the new space. And it will be a space that has dedicated walk-in cooler, walk-in freezer that will be forklift accessible warehousing of food. And so three storage levels of food warehousing, dried goods food warehousing, and distribution in that space that's dedicated. Right now, we keep some of our food in refrigerated units outside of our building, and then we forklift that food, bring it inside the building. And it's a lot of moving of food back and forth 3 times a week. And
Mhm.
it's very disruptive and loud and dangerous. And we're looking forward to really getting that all dialed in so that it's in a warehousing environment for the long term distribution of food.
That's
We're
amazing.
also adding classrooms, so excited about that. We'll have expanded classroom space for our finance class, for our first time homebuyer classes, for other classes that we do that help strengthen relationships between people. And so, very excited about that. We're partnering with other organizations in our community in the new space, and that's pretty exciting too. So, all of that is just in front of us, and it feels exciting and overwhelming all at the same time.
I'm sure there's a lot of work, and you must be all gung ho starting.
Yes.
Uh, Talking of which, let's talk about the funding that you are getting and who are your partners in this. And the second question, sub question to this is, how does your team work?
That's a great question. In the United States, we have a history of philanthropy. And so there are a lot of people in various communities who have given to build hospitals, to build churches, to build schools. And that is the way that we're doing our work here in Canby. We have gone to our community and we've asked for community partners, individual households, and we have talked with businesses, and we have done other grant writing and things like that. But most of our support on an annual basis comes to the Canby Center from people who care about the work that we do, people who give a monthly gift online, or people who send in a check. That is the way that we operate. Our annual operations budget is about $1 million a year. And the building project that I mentioned is really just one part of a larger capital campaign, which is an $8.75 million campaign. We are currently at $7,298,000 raised toward that. So we're in our last $1 million or so push to the finish line, and very excited to get there. For that campaign, most of the support has come from people right here who are our neighbors, who care about their neighbors and
That's so sweet.
want to see the community grow stronger and get better.
Yeah,
It's really a blessing to watch that happen.
it is. It is. And I'm very impressed with how you have remembered the exact number, 7 million and something. That's
I'm
great.
looking at it up on my screen. I have a dashboard,
Oh,
and
okay.
it tells me our actual number of where we are. For example, it also is telling me that 528 people have volunteered with us in the last 365 days in the last year, providing those volunteers have provided 11,542 volunteer hours. So we track a lot of data at the
Yeah,
Canby Center.
yeah.
We use technology to do that. We have a cloud based database system
Hmm.
that operates kind of behind those dashboards, and then we aggregate that information so that we can kind of understand where the trends are and what needs to move and change.
That's great. So keeping track and transparency as well. Uh, you have people understand the numbers, you have people understand what is going in, what is coming out. That's being transparent. And that is
Yes,
key to being an authentic service oriented center. That is beautiful.
we believe that's a key part. The idea that we would be financially transparent, especially. You can go to our website and you can find the annual reports for the last 7 years. You can find our most recently audited, independently audited financial statements, so that you can have, as a donor, an assurance that when you give a dollar to the Canby Center to help with children, it's going to go and help with children.
Yeah.
That's what our auditors do, is ensure that those dollars are used as the donor intends. We feel like that's very, very important part of our work, because we couldn't do our work without the support of the community. And so it's important that we keep that channel very open and transparent.
That is beautiful. Yeah. So, on another track now, sorry, you were going to answer about your team.
My team,
Yes.
sure. We have 11 staff members at the Canby Center,
Hmm.
and we do a wide range of things. There are 4 directors, including myself. So we have a director of expansion who's giving attention to the building project. We have a director of programs who oversees all the programming work that we do. And we have a director of development who really looks at the revenue side of our budget and those
Hmm.
contributions to be
Okay.
sure that we can do the work financially. And so, underneath those folks serve an amazing group of people who are frontline workers, greeting people, asking for a name and remembering a name as they leave, and smiling and making sure that people are cared for well, making sure that there's a wonderful, delicious hot meal today for the 50 or so people who may come in for food. And so, wide range of folks, from staff members and volunteers, who make sure that the needs that are there and present in our community are being addressed. And it's really, to me, it's inspiring to see the energy that they bring to serving other people. It really is a beautiful thing to watch, as they build a relationship with someone over time. You can see a person's sort of sort of outlook on life just get brighter. It's really wonderful.
Yeah. Could you share an inspiring story or some incident that you remember very vividly in so many years?
Yeah. Yes, I was just thinking about this yesterday, and so I'm just looking here. Somebody had shared a story with me that I thought was really neat, and so I'm just going to look and see if it's here. So this was somebody who came in as a volunteer, and he's been coming in. He has a young daughter, and he's been bringing his daughter with him, and he had a need to do some community service. And so, as he's been volunteering, he's been learning about the work that we do, and he's been helping out. And it's he really feels very welcome when he's here. That's what he says. So since the beginning, we've really seen him as more than just a person mandated to be here to do community service, but someone who is welcomed and wanted to come back. And so people are happy to see him. And he's been to other organizations and never really experienced that sense of belonging until now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's created a desire for him to continue to come back after he doesn't need to do that for
Right.
community service anymore. He just wants to be here. And so, those kind of things, when you see somebody stay for the long term and begin to serve in
Mm.
stronger ways, it's really a wonderful thing. I think of others too who we serve, who have turned the corner and have maybe gotten off the street and into an apartment and been able to kind of stabilize and head forward into the future in a better way. One guy in particular I think of, who, needed our help for a time, but
Mm-hmm.
now he doesn't really need the help as much, but just is a friend to us now. And so comes by and says hello. And that's wonderful to see.
These are, yeah.
But we have a lot of folks who come through who, need the services we provide to really just take the right next step. Um, I'm especially grateful when school district personnel, a teacher will bring in a student to get a coat or shoes, because they know those are here, They know we can help, and they're a bridge to that help. And that's a really, really special thing to see for us. And then oftentimes that child might connect through our Backpack Buddies program or Reading Mentors program. And when they come back to the Canby Center as an adult and interact with us, they have these feelings of connection long term, which is really special.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. You are doing great work. On a parting note, Ray, tell me, uh, you have so many people coming and volunteering, helping out. You see people who are in need. You see incidents which make you feel there is so much more that society can do for people, for the community. What is the one thing that you feel society needs more of in terms of value?
Hmm. It's a great question. Um, I think one beautiful characteristic that we all could do more with is this value of compassion. You touched on the word empathy, and I think our ability as human beings to notice someone who is struggling and to feel what they feel is really special. And when you notice that someone is hurting and you can, in a way, um, enter into their situation, even into a small degree, um, that can go a long way in helping them to bring a change to their life. And so we shouldn't underestimate what a little bit of compassion can do. It can go a long, long way. If we notice someone who's in need, we might not be able to change their situation. We may not be able to hand them keys to a new home,
Hmm.
but what we can do is a simple thing of smiling, saying hello. How are you doing today? Can I buy you lunch? Those are things we can do. And those are conversations that sometimes lead to next steps that are really valuable. So, compassion can help us to find what the right next step is. And I'm convinced that one of the best approaches to poverty alleviation is taking small steps out of poverty. It's usually not the big leap. We're trying a lot of that in America right now, and it's not honestly working very well.
Mhm.
The idea that, well, we'll solve the homelessness crisis by handing out keys to homes. Like, let's just give an apartment or give a house to someone. But you may not have addressed their mental health crisis or their addiction
Yeah.
struggle, or you may not have addressed other challenges in their life relationally. And so it's our belief that small steps in the right direction are the things that help the most. And walking with someone through those steps is really that's what's needed.
So beautifully expressed. Yes. Thank you,
Thank
Ray.
you.
You have shown us how much, how little can help how much. So, all the best to you and all the best for the small steps towards the bigger Canby Center. And
Thank you, Tej.
wish you all the blessings and happiness in your service and to your team as well. Thank you.
And to you. Have a great day.
That was Ray Keene, the executive director of the Canby Center in Oregon. This is all the good work that he is doing, and if you want to visit his website, it is thecanbycenter.org. Is that right, Ray? All right.
Yes.
And do visit his website and find out and see how you can help out. That would be great. From me, this is all for this episode. See you all in the next episode. Bye bye.